we are living, as they've mentioned, challenging times, represent a unique moment for all of us to really reflect a little bit on what now it is called the crisis as the new. Thank you. Crisis as the new normal. And we are all facing those definitely different crises, let's say, one after the other, with optimism, but also with the sense of responsibility that we have. And that's why we also want to share with all of you today the important outcomes of the study we have developed and the need on the transformation of the sector, what we have called the triple transformation of the retail and wholesale in Europe, namely based on the sustainability, digitalization, and talent. Definitely, we accept with pleasure to be part of the solution of this significant crisis we are living in Europe, and especially in our sector. But let me say that we cannot accept to be the one and single responsible of the crisis, and especially which refers to the excuse me, food price inflation. We are being victims of the inflation. The skyrocketing inflation on cost, on prices, could eventually increase our top line, could eventually increase our revenue line for a while, I must say, because the consumers are consuming less, but definitely is not increasing our bottom line. It's not increasing the low profitability margins that we have as a sector, and definitely some companies, because especially the cost of energy that is creating a significant impact in our companies, will put some companies, especially the small companies, moving from profit to losses. So definitely, and this is basically also a message that we would like to send to the policymakers and the important people that we have today here with us, is that we are really part of the solution. We are not part of the problem. That's why I want to really mention that in many countries in Europe we are being finger pointed by the inflation, when we have been very responsible on containing the inflation, especially in the beginning of the year, and also containing the price list increases we are suffering from the manufacturers and the industry. So I think it's important to underline this thing, because we will not be aside of the crisis. We want to be part of that solution, but we cannot accept full responsibility on what is going on. And that's why, before that happened, the board of EuroCommerce and the vice president, and especially I want to thank Jack for leading the investment study. Together with McKinsey, we developed a study that I think is going to change our life. And why? Because it is clear to us that even if we have a low profitability, thank you, margins in our sector, we are committed to invest. And invest means that in an order of magnitude, the sector plans to invest up to 600 billion euros until 2030, which implies that we will be moving from investing approximately around 3.6% of our revenues to 5.2% of our revenues on CapEx, informally speaking, which means that in many cases we are going to be reinvesting the low profits we have, but on top of it we will need to really invest much more than the profits we will be having in the companies, especially the SMEs that are going to be an important part of this investment to, let's say, face this triple transformation. And that's why I want to definitely declare our intention to be part of the solution as the largest employer in Europe. We give employment to more than 26 million people in Europe, the largest private employer in EU, which means that we are definitely and extremely important for the economic growth and the employment growth in Europe. And this needs to be considered in many aspects, because we will need to recruit around 1.5 million people per year, and we will need to reskill half of our people, which means 13 million people. Today, as part of the conference, I have the pleasure to say that we will be launching the Pact for Skills, which is a very important topic in the Commission agenda, together within our trade union partners, Uni Europa. So we are very proud of also collaborating and helping on this important topic that is very much related to the importance we have as employers. And finally, half of the investment, more than half of the investment that we plan to invest in by 2030, in 8 years, will be devoted to sustainability. More than 300 billion euros, which means a lot. And this is also another piece of work that really justifies our relevance on being part of the solution for a more green Europe, for collaborating within the Commission on the Repower EU, to be more responsible and be active and be part of the solution on saving energy in the times we are living. And definitely this is something that we will discuss during the morning and is one of the pillars of this triple transformation we are facing. So all in all, first, we are here to help. We are here to serve. We need the authorities. We need the help of authorities to help them to develop Europe, to try to stop the crisis, the economic crisis, as much as possible, to contain the inflation and give the consumers the best that we can. Don't forget that this is an ultra-intense sector. Every single day, more than 250 million transactions happen in Europe. 250 million transactions. So we have elections every single day. And the result of the elections is that people decide to go to a different store if our prices are not competitive. So when I attend and I hear and I listen to some decisions made on relation to regulating our sector and other things, also talking about taxes or profit taxes, I cannot deny that I feel bad. I feel really sad, because if we have a sector that is extremely competitive in all countries in Europe, is the retail and wholesale sector. Thank you very much and enjoy the day.